Today in the shed I have this turbo Hillclimb Starlet. It's a 2.2 redtop Calibre engine. Just to take the turbo out and get it reconditioned. We might do a dyno run and a few other small upgrades as well. So the turbo is down low here, and there's twin wastegates and the manifold on top. Doesn't look like if I get the turbo loose that it can go down. It's going to hit some things down there, so I probably have to take the exhaust manifold off and the whole exhaust off the back of the turbo and try to get everything up through the top, possibly. Okay, so to get the turbo off I need to move the turbo this way and to get it out off the engine and then up, but it's actually hitting the chassis rail here and the inner valance. So to get the turbo to go this way, I'm going to undo this mount on the engine and try to get the engine up maybe slightly. If I just get it up a little bit, I might be able to get that turbo off. So the turbo and the wastegates are all out. I had to sort of take it out in one big lump because I was afraid I was going to break all these bolts here in the turbo. They're going onto this flange. They were very tight, sort of hard to get to. So I tried to take it out all in one lump where I could split it just here, and then I could work on these and make sure I get them out properly. No gasket or anything like that. I'd be surprised if it wasn't a bit of a boost leak there, because they wasn't that tight and there's no gasket, so I had to get a gasket for that. That's tight. Ooh, that was loose. Wasn't tight. Oh yeah. The nut is actually seized on the stud. So the stud was tightened all the way in until it ran out of threads. That's why it wasn't tightened all the way up. Threads actually damaged that stud as well. So this is the actuator for the standard wastegate, but it's just blocked off, so you can't open the standard wastegate. That's why there's two external wastegates coming off the manifold here and here. So you don't need to use this anymore. That probably wasn't big enough for the boost level running in the car. So it wouldn't have been able to bypass enough of the exhaust gases, and it would have got boost spikes probably. So that's why there's twin wastegates. The two wastegates are nearly double the size of the wastegates that on this turbo originally. Okay, so I tried heating it to open it and not really having much success. It's nicely seized on there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the tops of the bolts off, the heads of the bolts, take off the manifold, and then I can weld the nut onto the studs and extract them that way. Broke. One out successfully. One more. I weld another nut onto that. Treads are damaged in that. Treads are drilled out in that one. The other two look okay. Well, I can always bolt that one, but I'll try fix the treads on it. That's it. We'll get that rebuilt now. Before I put the manifold and turbo back on this car, the customer asked me to heat wrap the exhaust. The easiest way is to cut the heat wrap into each length for each pipe. So it's about 4 meters of heat wrap you need for each pipe on the manifold, which is actually a fair bit. Steep it in some water for a few minutes. It just makes it much easier to use, and you can pull it much tighter, and you're not fiberglass dust in the air everywhere. Have the turbo back, so it's just build everything back onto the turbo and then fit it back into the car. Okay, so in the turbo manifold, the only part of the manifold that I can get a bolt through is this one here. And I have treads in the turbo for that. But all these other holes here, I can't get bolts in. Now this one already had a bolt and nut all the way through it. Someone has already drilled the turbo out for that. But on this one and this one, there was two studs sticking up, which were seized. I had to cut them off to get the turbo off. And now I can't get a bolt or anything back in there, and the turbo is threaded. So what I done, I drilled the threads out in the turbo so I can bolt in this way and put a nut in here. But on this one, just here. I still can't get a bolt in that way or a bolt in here. So this one I can't bolt from either side. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to weld the stud back onto the turbo manifold like that. Weld it from in here. And then when I drop the turbo on, I'll be able to get a nut on the back of this in here. If that makes sense. More little problems. This hole here in the turbo housing, that has to screw in there for the water pipes. It's the water feed pipe, but it's hitting off this V-band here, so I'm going to have to loosen the whole housing and move that V-band around so I can bolt the water pipe back in there. Gasket for that, not very pretty. I had a bit of heat wrap left, so I heat wrapped this pipe because it's really close to all these pipes that are going to control the wastegates. That's the turbo job more or less finished in this car. I actually lost the footage of me starting the car up and warming up and checking everything over, but everything was fine. I will have this car back again, and I'll probably get a dyno run and some more work on the car, but that's all I have for now.